For many years, the galaxy was a quiet place for humanity. Humans lived on Earth, a blue planet in the small star system called Sol. Around them were many stars, many planets, and many other creatures from other worlds. These other beings were older, larger, and much more advanced. They had huge ships, great powers, and empires that spanned hundreds of stars. Humans seemed small and weak compared to them. Other civilizations did not pay much attention to Earth. They thought humans were simple creatures. Their ships were small. Their technology was nothing special. Most of the galaxy forgot about Earth and its people. They did not see humans as a threat or as a force to watch. The humans did not complain. They worked quietly and stayed inside their own corner of space. They studied the stars, built small colonies on a few nearby planets and moons, and looked for new friends among the stars. The humans wanted peace. They wanted to learn. They did not want war. But humans had a secret. Deep in space, far beyond where most ships ever traveled, there were places hidden by dust, darkness, and silence. In these places, humans had hidden something very old, something very powerful, something from a time long before humans had cities, governments, or even written history. Hidden in these dark places were warships. Not just any ships, but giant, ancient machines built for battle. These ships were so big they could hold thousands of people and carry weapons that could destroy whole planets. They were old, but they still had power inside them. Power that was waiting to be woken. No one in the galaxy knew about these ships. Not even the humans themselves, at least not all of them. Only a few people on Earth knew the truth. They kept it a secret, hidden from everyone else, even from most humans. One of those people was Commander Alina Voss. She was a leader in Earth's space fleet. She had seen many stars and many battles, but she had never seen anything like what she was about to find. Alina's ship, the Argus, moved quietly through the empty space near the edge of the Sol system. They were on a mission to explore a distant asteroid belt, a place where no one had been for centuries. The belt was full of rocks, ice, and strange signals. Something was calling from there, something old. As the Argus moved closer, the sensors picked up a huge object buried inside one of the largest asteroids. It was big, too big for a natural rock. The ship's crew was stunned. What could it be? Alina gave the order to send a small probe down to the asteroid's surface. The probe landed on the rock and began to scan. What it found was beyond their wildest dreams. Inside the asteroid was a ship built for war. Its hull was made of metal unlike anything humans had seen before, stronger than steel, lighter than aluminum, and covered in strange symbols. The ship was old, very old, but the power cells were still faintly alive. "Commander," said the ship's science officer, "this is no ordinary ship. It's a warship from before any human records. It looks like it was built thousands, maybe millions of years ago." Alina stared at the images on the screen. The ship was massive, longer than any human ship in the current fleet, wider than a city block, and tall enough to reach into the sky like a mountain. "How could this be?" she asked. "Who built this ship, and why is it here?" The answers were hidden in the ship itself. Inside the asteroid, the Argus team began to send small robots into the warship. The robots sent back pictures and data. The ship had rooms filled with ancient technology, rooms where the walls moved and changed, rooms where lights blinked even after all these years. They found control panels with strange buttons and screens. There were weapons systems still in place, though silent. There were places for pilots and soldiers, though no one had been there for a long time. Alina's heart beat fast. This ship was a piece of history, a piece of human history no one had known existed. But there was more. The symbols on the ship's hull were a form of language. Alina's team worked hard to decode them. Slowly, they began to understand. The ship was built by humans, not the humans of today, but an ancient group who had lived before recorded time. These ancient humans were not small or weak. They were strong. They were warriors. They had traveled between stars and fought great wars. The ship was part of a fleet, an armada of warships that had controlled parts of the galaxy long before other civilizations existed. These ancient humans had been powerful and feared. But then something happened. The warships disappeared. The ancient humans vanished from history. Their stories became myths. The warships were lost and hidden away. Now, in the quiet of the modern galaxy, one of those ships was found again. Alina knew this discovery would change everything. When news of the find reached Earth, the whole world was shocked. Scientists, leaders, and ordinary people wanted to know the truth. Could humans really be descendants of such a powerful race? Had humanity lost its place among the stars, only to find it again? Other civilizations heard the news too. Some were curious. Some were afraid. The idea that humans had been hiding such power made them uneasy. The galaxy was no longer quiet. But on Earth, many people felt hope. They felt pride. For the first time, humanity had proof that they were not weak. They were not small. They were survivors, fighters, explorers. Alina looked at the stars through the window of her ship. She thought about the ancient warship sleeping inside the asteroid. She thought about the future. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to show what it had been hiding for so long. Far beyond the Sol system, in a distant corner of the galaxy, an alien race watched quietly. They called themselves the Overseers. The Overseers were known for their great knowledge and patience. They watched over many star systems, always looking for signs of danger or change. Their ships moved silently through space, scanning planets and stars for unusual activity. One day, the Overseers detected a strange energy signal near the edge of the Sol system. It was faint but unlike anything they had seen before. Curious, they sent a small scout ship to investigate. The scout ship approached the asteroid belt where humans had found the ancient warship. The Overseers' instruments quickly detected the massive metal ship hidden inside the rock. It was huge, far larger than any known human ship or any ship they had ever encountered. Commander Kiro of the Overseers was aboard the scout vessel. He was calm but intrigued. "This is unexpected," he said softly to his crew. "A warship this old, and of human origin? That is impossible according to our records." The Overseers had long studied humanity. They knew humans were clever and adaptable, but they believed humans had only recently begun to explore space. This discovery challenged everything they thought they knew. Kiro ordered the scout ship to move closer. They sent out drones to scan the ship's hull and tried to decode the strange symbols carved into its surface. Back on Earth, Alina and her team were still exploring the ancient warship. They had made a breakthrough. The ship was not only a weapon but also a kind of library. It held information about ancient human history, technology, and battles that no one had ever heard of before. Alina was excited but worried. She knew that if the Overseers discovered this warship, they might not be friendly. The Overseers were powerful and cautious. They might see humanity's secret as a threat. The Overseers' drones sent back images and data that shocked their leaders. The warship was old, much older than any other ship in the galaxy. It seemed to come from a time before most civilizations had even formed. As the Overseers studied the ship, they began to understand its purpose. It was part of an ancient, human armada, a fleet of warships that had once ruled large parts of the galaxy. These ships had fought great wars and defeated powerful enemies. The Overseers realized that humanity's history was far deeper and more complex than they had believed. Humans were not just a new species trying to find their place in space. They were heirs to a lost empire of warriors and explorers. This discovery made the Overseers cautious. They sent a message to Earth asking for a meeting. The message was clear. They wanted to talk about the warship and its meaning. On Earth, Alina received the message. She knew this was a critical moment. The galaxy was watching, and humanity had to respond carefully. The meeting took place in neutral space on a small station orbiting a quiet star. Humans and Overseers came together to discuss what had been found. The Overseers asked many questions. How had the warship survived for so long? Why had humans hidden it? What did humanity plan to do with the ancient fleet? Alina spoke honestly. "We did not hide this ship to threaten anyone. We kept it secret because we were not ready to reveal our past. But now, The ship is awake, and so are we. We want to learn from our history and protect our future. The overseers listened but remained unsure. They feared that the ancient technology could be dangerous. If humans rebuilt the fleet, it could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Some overseers suggested that the warship be taken away and studied under their control. Others wanted it destroyed to prevent any risk. But Alina stood firm. This is our heritage. It belongs to humanity. We will not allow anyone to take it from us. The debate was tense, but no one wanted to start a war. The leaders agreed to continue talks and work together to understand the warship. Meanwhile, humans began a new project. They sent teams to find other ancient warships hidden across space. Slowly, the ancient armada was waking up. The galaxy watched closely. Some civilizations were curious, others suspicious, and a few were openly worried. Back on the asteroid, the ancient warship began to power up. Lights blinked, engines hummed, and systems came alive. It was no longer a silent relic. It was a living weapon, ready to sail the stars once more. Alina and her crew prepared for what was next. The quiet galaxy was changing. Humanity's past was no longer a secret, and the future held new challenges. As the ancient warship rose from its asteroid tomb, it carried with it the hopes and fears of an entire species. The galaxy had thought humans were small and weak, but now the truth was clear. Humans had been hiding power beyond imagination, and the story of humanity was only just beginning. The ancient warship, long asleep inside its rocky tomb, began to stir. Deep within the asteroid, power surged through long dormant engines. Lights flickered on the massive hull, and control rooms, untouched for millennia, glowed faintly with life. The ship was awakening. Commander Alina Voss stood on the bridge of the Argus, watching the live feed from the robots exploring inside the warship. Her heart beat faster than ever before. This was no ordinary mission anymore. This was a moment that could change the fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy. Power systems are coming online, her science officer reported. Core temperature rising, energy output stabilizing. Alina nodded, her eyes fixed on the screen. Keep monitoring all systems. We need to be ready for anything. The warship had survived countless years in silence, hidden from sight and forgotten by time. But the technology inside was unlike anything Earth's scientists had ever imagined. It was advanced and strange, far beyond current human designs, yet somehow it still responded to the human touch. Inside the ship, machines hummed and shifted. The ancient computers, powered by energy sources that defied modern understanding, began to process data. They accessed old records, maps of stars and planets, and logs of battles fought long ago. Alina's team worked tirelessly to decode these records. The language was difficult but familiar enough to translate. The ship was a relic from an era when humans ruled vast territories across the stars, when they built great fleets and fought wars to protect their homes and ideals. The records spoke of a great collapse, an event that scattered the ancient human civilizations and forced them to hide. The warships were sealed away in secret places, waiting for the right time to return. That time was now. As the warship powered up, Earth's leaders faced tough questions. How should humanity use this power? Would revealing the ancient fleet make other civilizations afraid? Would it bring peace or war? The Council of Earth met to discuss these questions. Alina was invited to speak. "We cannot ignore our past," she said firmly. "These ships show us who we are: fighters, explorers, survivors. But power without wisdom is dangerous. We must learn from history and use this technology carefully." The Council agreed to continue the careful study of the warship while preparing Earth's defenses. Other civilizations in the galaxy watched, with growing interest and concern. Some began to send envoys to Earth, hoping to understand the new human power. Others secretly prepared their own fleets, unsure whether to trust humanity's intentions. Meanwhile, the ancient warship itself began to change. Its engines slowly powered up, moving massive thrusters that could propel the ship across light years. Weapons systems hummed quietly, ready but not yet armed. Alina knew this ship was more than a tool. It was a symbol of hope and warning. If humans could master its power, they could protect their world from any threat. But if they failed, it could bring destruction. One night, while studying the ship's control room, Alina found something unexpected, a hidden chamber sealed by ancient locks. With her team's help, she opened the doors. Inside, she found holographic recordings, messages from the past. Ancient humans spoke of great battles, lost worlds, and a promise to return when the galaxy was ready. One message stood out. A leader from that forgotten time said, "When darkness falls and empires crumble, our legacy will rise again. Humanity will remember who it is and take its place among the stars." Alina felt a chill. The past was reaching out to the present. The ancient warships were more than machines. They were reminders of human strength and endurance. But the Yachi awakening did not go unnoticed. Far across the galaxy, other powers prepared for change. The overseers debated their response. Some believed humans should be helped to control their new power. Others feared a return to war and conflict. An alien fleet moved closer to the Sol system, watching silently. Alina's team detected the fleet. The message was clear. The galaxy was paying attention. Humanity was no longer hidden. The next step was crucial. Alina gathered her closest officers. "We must prepare to pilot the warship. We need to show the galaxy that we are ready, not just to fight but to lead." Training began immediately. Pilots learned to operate the ancient controls, weapons crews studied the old systems, and engineers worked to repair and upgrade the ship. The crew faced many challenges. The technology was strange, and the ship's systems were far from perfect after centuries of silence. But human determination was strong. Slowly, the warship came alive under their hands. At the same time, Earth sent diplomats to meet with other civilizations. They sought alliances and understanding, hoping to avoid conflict. The galaxy was changing. The ancient warship was no longer just a secret. It was a new beginning. One evening, as Alina stood on the deck of the Argus looking at the stars, she felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity had hidden its strength for too long. Now, it was time to rise. The warship's engines hummed softly beneath her feet, a heartbeat of the past waking to protect the future. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, but that was about to change. The discovery of the ancient warship had sent ripples across the galaxy. News of humanity's secret fleet spread quickly, stirring curiosity, suspicion, and fear among the many civilizations that shared the stars. An alliance of powerful races, known simply as the Galactic Coalition, saw humanity's rising strength as a threat. They had maintained peace in the galaxy for centuries, using their large fleets and strong diplomacy to keep smaller powers in check. Humanity, with their newly awakened warship and ancient technology, did not fit into their plans. The coalition's leaders met on the grand station of Arendor, a massive floating city that orbited a gas giant. Here, representatives from many worlds gathered to decide how to handle the sudden rise of human power. "Humans have kept this technology hidden for far too long," said High Commander Velron, a tall figure with glowing eyes from the planet Vashari. "If we allow them to rebuild their ancient fleet, the balance of power will be destroyed. We must demand that they disarm and surrender the warships." "But humanity has the right to defend itself," argued Ambassador Thera from the peaceful planet Lysara. "They have shown no hostility so far. Perhaps we should seek dialogue before threats." Velron's voice grew colder. "Dialogue is a luxury we cannot afford if we want to maintain peace. If humans refuse, we must be prepared for war." Back on Earth, the Council received the Coalition's demands. The message was clear: dismantle the ancient warships or face the consequences. Commander Alina Voss stood before the Council, ready to deliver her response. "We understand your concerns," she began. "But these ships are part of our history. They are our right and our protection. We will not surrender them. The Council supported her fully. Humanity had waited long enough to reclaim its place among the stars. In the following weeks, tension grew. The Coalition sent warships to the edge of Sol space, a show of force meant to intimidate. Earth prepared its defenses and readied the ancient warship for battle. Alina's crew trained harder than ever. They learned to operate the ship's advanced weapons and defenses. They studied the Coalition's tactics and planned strategies to protect their home. One day, an envoy from the Coalition arrived on Earth. The envoy, a stern figure named Soran, requested a meeting with Alina. Soran's voice was calm but firm. "Commander Voss, we do not want war, but we cannot allow humanity to upset the galaxy's balance. You must understand the risk you take." Alina met Soran's gaze without fear. "We seek peace, but we will defend ourselves if needed. Our history is not a threat. It is a lesson. You underestimate humanity." Soran's eyes narrowed. "Then prepare yourselves." The warning was clear. As the Coalition's fleets moved closer, Alina felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. This was more than a battle for power. It was a test of humanity's spirit. The ancient warship, once silent and forgotten, now pulsed with energy. Its engines roared to life as it left the asteroid's shadow and moved into space. The galaxy watched in awe and fear. The first battle was near a vital trade route, a place where many ships from different civilizations passed daily. The Coalition hoped to show their strength and force humanity to surrender quickly. But humanity was ready. The warship's weapons flared. Energy beams sliced through the darkness, targeting enemy ships with precision and power. Human pilots moved with skill and bravery, using the ship's advanced systems to outmaneuver larger fleets. The battle was fierce and fast. The Coalition had numbers, but humans had strategy and the power of their ancient technology. Alina's voice was steady as she commanded her crew. "Hold the line. Protect the trade route. Show them the strength of humanity." The warship fired, salvo after salvo, striking down enemy ships. Coalition commanders were shocked. They had not expected such resistance. In the heat of battle, human crews displayed creativity and courage. Engineers repaired damaged systems under fire. Pilots took risks to save their comrades. Soldiers fought with determination born from generations of survival. Slowly, the tide turned. The Coalition fleet began to retreat, surprised and humbled by the human fleet's power. After the battle, the galaxy was silent. Humanity had proven itself. Alina and her crew returned to Earth as heroes. The Council declared that humanity's time in the shadows was over. The ancient warships were no longer secrets. They were symbols of strength and hope. But the victory came with a warning. The Coalition had not given up. They were regrouping, planning their next move. The galaxy was at a crossroads. Would the civilizations learn to accept humanity's power? Or would fear lead to greater conflict? Alina looked at the stars once more. The challenge was far from over. But she knew one thing clearly. Humanity would never back down. The ancient warships were not just weapons. They were proof that humans were survivors, fighters who would defend their home, their people, and their future. The quiet galaxy was waking up, and humanity was ready to lead. The victory at the trade route was a momentous occasion for humanity. The ancient warship had proven its worth, and humans had shown the galaxy that they were a force to be reckoned with. Yet the threat from the Galactic Coalition remained. They had not accepted defeat. Instead, they were growing more determined to contain or destroy humanity's power. Commander Alina Voss understood that fighting the Coalition alone would be a dangerous path. Earth's resources were strong but limited. The galaxy was vast and enemies were many. To survive and thrive, humanity needed friends. Alina proposed a bold plan to the Earth Council: form alliances with other civilizations that also feared the Coalition's dominance. There were many species in the galaxy who wanted peace but felt oppressed by the Coalition's control. They might be willing to join humanity and share knowledge, resources, and strength. The Council agreed. A new mission was set: sending diplomats, scientists, and envoys to seek alliances across the stars. Alina herself was chosen to lead the first diplomatic mission aboard the ancient warship, now retrofitted with the latest technology from Earth. The ship was no longer just a weapon. It was a symbol of hope and unity. Their first stop was the planet Vashari, the home world of High Commander Velron, the very leader who had demanded humanity's surrender. The choice was risky, but Alina believed that peace was possible. The warship entered Vashari's orbit. Alina prepared her team. "We go as ambassadors," she said. "Not as conquerors. We offer friendship." The Vashari capital was a city of shining towers and deep forests. Alina and her team were received with suspicion but also curiosity. In the Grand Council Hall, Alina met Velron face to face. Velron's eyes glowed as he spoke. "You come seeking peace after challenging us in battle. Why should I trust you?" Alina held his gaze steadily. "Because we have seen what war can cost us. Because we want a future where no one lives in fear. Because strength is not just about weapons, it is about trust and respect." Velron considered her words. The galaxy was changing and old rivalries could no longer hold. After long discussions, Velron agreed to a tentative alliance. The Vashari would share their advanced technologies in exchange for cooperation and defense. It was a small but important step. Next, Alina's mission took her to Lysara, the peaceful planet whose ambassador had earlier urged caution. Lysara was known for its wisdom and diplomacy. Its people lived in harmony with nature and technology. The Lysaran leaders welcomed humanity warmly. They shared knowledge of advanced medical technologies and starship design. They emphasized the importance of dialogue and understanding. With Lysara's support, the alliance grew stronger. More civilizations joined. The powerful, but isolated. Zyrax from the Outer Rim pledged their fleet. The scholar species called the Myrnin offered intelligence and research aid. Even some former enemies saw that cooperation with humanity was the galaxy's best hope. The new coalition was called the United Star Alliance. Together, they formed a plan to defend against the Galactic Coalition's growing power. They would protect trade routes, share technology, and stand united against threats. Back on Earth, the people celebrated. Humanity was no longer alone in the galaxy. They had friends and a future. However, peace was fragile. The Galactic Coalition watched these developments with growing alarm. They sent spies and saboteurs to disrupt the new alliance. Several minor attacks on trade convoys raised tensions. Alina and her crew were ready. The ancient warship was now equipped with defenses that could repel many threats. Its crew was experienced and determined. One day, a warning came from the far edge of the Alliance's territory. A coalition fleet was moving to strike at a key star system, one vital to the United Star Alliance's supply lines. Alina was chosen to lead the defense. The warship and allied fleets moved quickly to intercept. The battle that followed was larger and fiercer than before. The coalition fleet was massive and well-armed, but the Alliance's coordination and new strategies gave them an edge. Alina's command was steady under pressure. The ancient warship fired with devastating power. Allied ships moved in harmony, protecting each other and striking key targets. During the battle, Alina noticed a new weapon on the coalition ships, a device that could disable energy shields temporarily. This weapon was dangerous. Quick thinking saved the day. Alina ordered a tactical retreat to regroup and adapt. The warship deployed countermeasures, and Allied engineers worked to develop new shield technologies. After a tense pause, the Alliance fleet returned to battle. This time they fought with new tactics and renewed strength. The coalition fleet was pushed back, suffering heavy losses. The victory was hard-won, but it showed the strength of unity. The United Star Alliance had survived its first true test. Alina returned to Earth, greeted as a hero once again. But she knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was a place of many powers and dangers. The ancient warship had awakened not only humanity's past but also its destiny. Alina looked out at the stars, feeling both hope and caution. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity would stand tall, not alone, but together, with friends. The ancient warships were no longer secrets or weapons of fear. They were the foundation of a new era, one where humans and other civilizations could build a future of peace, strength, and discovery. And the story of humanity, once hidden, was now written among the stars.